She will change, you tell yourself. You believe that things will improve if you simply show her more love, make more sacrifices, and exercise more patience. They won't. Because they conflate loyalty with self destruction, the majority of men remain in unhealthy relationships. They believe that leaving makes them a quitter. Here's what the wise know, though: the strongest thing you can do at times is to leave. I'm going to go out the precise actions that should cause you to leave right away today. Simply leave without making an effort to make things better, giving it another go, or hoping she'll change her mind. Character is shown by these patterns. Furthermore, character doesn't change only because you wish it to. You are not being honorable if you ignore these warning signs. You're being stupid. This may be awkward. You may be aware of your current circumstance. Excellent. The beginning of growth is discomfort. Let's get started. She treats you disrespectfully in public. Pay attention. You should begin making plans to leave as soon as a woman makes you feel insignificant in front of others. Being sensitive isn't the point here. This is about identifying a pattern that tells you everything about her perception of you. Disrespect in public is not the same as disagreement in private. Couples can debate, confront, and resolve problems behind closed doors. That's typical. However, if a woman disparages you in front of friends, makes fun of you at family events, or contradicts you to appear better, she is communicating to everyone, including you, that she doesn't value you. Here is the harsh reality: building a life with someone who doesn't appreciate you is impossible. The cornerstone of everything is respect. Without it, love turns into power, collaboration turns into performance, transaction replaces intimacy. Consider what constitutes true public disdain. She cracks unfunny jokes at your expense. They are ruthless. To make people laugh, she makes up embarrassing tales about you. In social situations, she rejects your viewpoints. When you talk to her, she rolls her eyes. She is always correcting you in front of other people. Her tone and phrases make it obvious that she believes she is superior to you. Some guys convince themselves that she is simply being herself, laughing and having fun. There is a distinction between teasing statements that are spoken out of love and scathing remarks that are made out of disdain. Even if your intellect is inventing excuses, your gut knows the difference. This conduct is a deal breaker for the following reasons. It gets more intense. It just gets worse. It never gets better. If a lady treats you disrespectfully in public, she will eventually treat you disrespectfully in private as well. She's trying to see how much you can put up with. Additionally, you are teaching her that your dignity is worthless each time you overlook it. A sensible individual knows that respect cannot be compromised. You can't earn it by excellent behavior or by begging for it. Respect is not the end aim, but rather the standard in a good partnership. Believe someone if they consistently show you they don't respect you. This does not imply that you must always be complimented or worshiped. It implies that you should never feel inferior by your partner, especially in public. Even if she has things to talk about privately, she should support you in public. That's the role of partners. Refusing to engage in public contempt is not motivated by ego. Self-preservation is at stake, since what begins as a few sarcastic remarks turns into a habit of embarrassment. What starts out as mild disdain becomes outright disdain, and before you know it, you're sharing a home with someone who views you more as a foe to be defeated than as a support system. Respectful remarks about you both in and out of the room are something you deserve. Someone who, despite privately challenging you, supports you in public. Someone who believes that since you are on the same team, making you seem good also makes the team look good. She's not your type if she can't do it and constantly brings you down in front of other people. Furthermore, basic disrespect cannot be made up for by any amount of happy memories, shared history, or room for improvement. She attempts to alter who you are at your core. Most men don't realize this until it's too late. There is a huge difference between a lady who encourages you to develop and one who insists that you alter your core identity. Growth is lovely. An excellent companion pushes you to improve your health and discipline. She holds you accountable and supports your objectives. Partnership is what that is. However, the woman doesn't want you if she needs you to change into someone else entirely. She desires the mental image of you that she conjured up. This manifests itself in particular ways. She is always critiquing your hobbies, friends, professional decisions, and way of life. Nothing you do is exactly correct. You think incorrectly, speak incorrectly, and dress incorrectly. You are consistently falling short of her expectations of who you ought to be. Some guys tell themselves that this shows that she cares about them and wants what's best for them. But take a deeper look. Is she trying to change you into someone else totally? Or is she urging you to be the best version of yourself? Does she support your ambitions or does she ignore them in favor of her own life goals? The lady who attempts to alter your fundamental identity does it out of discontent. She is essentially dissatisfied with your identity. She took you in with the intention of remaking, enhancing, and fixing you. You were never sufficient. A project, you were. This is a common occurrence in relationships. She constantly pushing you in the direction of something that pays more or has more prestige, even though you enjoy your current job. She causes issues with all of your close pals until you become alone. You enjoy your hobbies, but she makes you feel bad about spending time on them. She requires you to embrace her values and ideas, even while you have your own. The sneaky bit is here. She presents everything as love. All I care about is what's best for you. My goal is to assist you in realizing your full potential. I care, which is why I'm pushing you. However, genuine caring embraces individuals for who they are and supports their development. According to her definition of caring, you must change who you are in order to become what she desires. A sensible person understands that genuine love doesn't require change. It embraces you completely and promotes development. There is a huge difference between saying, I love you for who you are, and saying, I'll help you get even better, and saying, I'll love you once you change these core aspects of yourself. It isn't love when someone loves you, but only if you change into someone else. A transaction, that is, and your identity is the price. Men continue in these relationships with the belief that she will be content if they only change and sacrifice enough of themselves. She won't, since you aren't the true issue. The issue is that she picked someone with whom she was essentially incompatible and now expects them to make amends by altering every aspect of their personality. You are free to be yourself. It's acceptable for you to have interests that she doesn't. It's acceptable for you to have pals she doesn't adore. It's acceptable for your dreams to differ slightly from hers. You won't have to alter who you are to attract the perfect woman. She will adore your essence and wish to develop with it rather than replace it. You are squandering each other's time if she is consistently unsatisfied with who you are as opposed to what she desires you to be. She ought to locate someone who embodies her ideals. You ought to meet someone who accepts you for who you are. She turns love and closeness into a weapon. This one is subtle yet lethal, so pay attention. The lady is deeply manipulating you if she treats closeness, tenderness, and attention as rewards or penalties. In a good relationship, affection comes easily. People who are in love with one another share physical intimacy, emotional connection, and quality time, not because they earned it. However, some women use these fundamental requirements in relationships as tools of control. This manifests as denying her intimacy as a form of discipline, withdrawing affection when you offend her, and being aloof and chilly until you give in to her demands, utilizing your desire for connection as a means of influencing her. Becoming affectionate and warm all of a sudden when you fulfill her request. The trend is obvious. Her love is strategic and contingent. Being kind or obeying brings you intimacy, warmth, and attention. You get coldness, distance, and rejection when you're terrible, which means independent, disagreeing, and having boundaries. This leads to a destructive loop in which you are continuously attempting to satisfy fundamental relationship requirements. You're being cautious, keeping an eye on her emotions, and modifying your actions to prevent her from losing your affection. You now receive rewards for excellent behavior and penalties for bad behavior, much like a dog. This is the reason it is so harmful. It transforms affection into coercion. Affection becomes into a technique of control rather than a sincere display of emotion. You're never safe. You're never secure. Because the one who is meant to love you will take that love away from you if you ever fall out of line in order to get you back in line. Because it develops gradually, some guys aren't even aware of this behavior. Initially, she can simply be moody at times. Then you see that she only shows affection when you fulfill her request. Then you see that all you're doing is trying to win her approval in order to feel a basic sense of warmth and connection. Before you realize it, you've entered a relationship in which love is not given freely, but rather must be earned. A smart individual knows that affection and closeness shouldn't be exchanged for money. They shouldn't be used as incentives for obedience or sanctions for self-reliance. In a genuine relationship, people show love because they truly feel it, not as a tactic to achieve their goals. Consider the effects this has on you over time. You start to worry, often wondering if you've done enough to earn her love. In your attempt to keep her approval, you lose yourself. To maintain the warmth, you give up your wants, your boundaries, and your identity. Love isn't that, conditioning is what that is. When a woman uses intimacy as a weapon, she's communicating you something significant. Her love is restricted and subject to conditions. That isn't how true love operates. Instead of being used strategically, true love is constant, present, and freely given. You're not in a loving relationship if you're always attempting to win affection, fearing that it will be withdrawn, or feeling like you're just one mistake away from rejection and coldness. You are in a situation of manipulation, and many men are unaware of this. There is never any improvement in this pattern. It only becomes more intense. You give her greater authority to manipulate you. By withholding love the longer you put up with it, you will eventually become so desperate for crumbs of adoration that you will do anything to regain that feeling. You deserve a partner whose love isn't used as a weapon, someone who persistently, rather than strategically, shows affection, someone who respects your needs and boundaries and doesn't treat you coldly. That serves as the foundation for a wholesome partnership. She holds you accountable for all of her feelings. Men are gradually destroyed by this trend. The woman who blames you for every emotion she experiences, who makes it your sole responsibility to control her emotional state, who holds you responsible for her discontent. This is what emotional responsibility looks like. You must have done something wrong if she is upset. She may be insecure since you did not give her enough reassurance. She is upset because you somehow let her down. It all stems from anything you did or didn't do. Whether she feels depressed, anxious, angry, or disappointed, you become her emotional manager as a result of this unrealistic dynamic. You're always keeping an eye on her mood, attempting to keep her from getting upset, and putting her happiness ahead of your own. Once, she has persuaded you that you are responsible for her emotional stability. Therefore, your entire existence revolves around maintaining it. This is the reality that must be expressed. Adults are in charge of their own emotional conditions. It's true that spouses affect one another's emotions. Yes, you should be concerned for her welfare, but there's a big difference between helping someone deal with their feelings and being held responsible for all of them. You are being asked to parent a woman who blames everything on you, who is incapable of taking responsibility for her emotions, and who requires continual emotional control. She is refusing to control her own psychology by doing the inward work that adults perform. Relationships are a constant manifestation of this. Instead of dealing with the fact that she's having a rough day, she attributes it to something you did. She is insecure, but rather of addressing that, she makes it your mission to show her your love and devotion all the time. She blames you for the cause and resolution of her misery rather than accepting responsibility for altering it. Men continue to think that they must put in more effort, pay closer attention, and make greater sacrifices. She would be pleased if they could simply get it properly. Here's the truth, though. You can never do enough because your actions aren't the issue. The issue is that she has entrusted you with her emotional health. The astute observer is aware that each adult is ultimately responsible for controlling their own emotional state. Your partner should contribute to your happiness rather than take full responsibility for it. And rather than bearing the full weight of it, you ought to contribute to hers. Someone gives you unattainable power and an unachievable load when they hold you accountable for all of their emotions. The feelings of another individual are beyond your control. Although you can affect them by your actions, you cannot make someone feel comfortable, happy, or content if they are not making the effort on their own. Something more profound is revealed by this pattern: immaturity of emotion. The mature adult recognizes that emotions are derived from interpretations and thoughts rather than only from the outside world. They realize that although other people may cause them to feel certain emotions, they are ultimately in charge of how they interpret and react to those feelings. However, the emotionally immature individual requires someone else to place the blame on, someone else to correct, and someone else to take accountability for their inner life. And if you accept that role, you will live your entire life attempting to control the uncontrollable, while she stays away from the work that only she can undertake for personal development. You're not in a relationship if your wife continuously blames you for her emotional state, if everything revolves around what you did wrong, or if you're always attempting to stop her from feeling bad by your actions. You are the parent, and she is the child in this parent-child scenario. You should have a partner that accepts responsibility for her feelings while still letting you help her get through them. Someone who declares, "I'm working on that because I'm feeling insecure," as opposed to, "You make me feel insecure." Someone who allows you to contribute to her happiness while managing it herself. Not someone who places all the responsibility for its creation and upkeep on you. To be completely clear, let's review what we just discussed. She doesn't respect you in private if she treats you disrespectfully in public. If she is attempting to alter who you are at your core, leave you were never wanted by her. She desired her project. Get out. She isn't loving you if she uses closeness and affection as a weapon. She is in charge of you. Get out. She isn't your partner if she holds you accountable for all of her feelings. She is your dependency. Get out. These are not minor problems that get better with dialogue. These are basic traits of her personality that show her true self. Furthermore, being patient, compassionate, or selfless enough does not translate into a change in character. This is what most men overlook, but the knowledgeable know. Remaining in an unsatisfactory relationship does not prove your loyalty. You become complicit in your own demise as a result. Your acceptance of rudeness, manipulation, control, or emotional immaturity each day teaches her that such behavior is effective. She is being trained to treat you badly by you. When it came to preserving their inner tranquility, the Stoics were brutal. They were aware that some people are incompatible with your development, your goals, and your general well being. Furthermore, giving up your life for someone who essentially doesn't appreciate you is never justified by history, good times, or prospects. Giving up is not walking away. You have to choose yourself. It's acknowledging that you merit collaboration rather than incarceration, that you are worthy of respect rather than disdain, that genuine love, not manipulation under duress, is what you deserve. The majority of males stay too long due of fear, terrified of being by themselves, of beginning anew, and of acknowledging that they made a poor decision. However, fear is a poor excuse for wasting your life with the wrong person. You only have one life, one chance to create something worthwhile, and one chance to spend your years with someone who genuinely makes them better rather than worse. Why would you live that long with someone who treats you disrespectfully, manipulates you, attempts to change you, or holds you accountable for their emotional issues? These actions won't be taken by the proper women. The right woman will treat you with dignity, both in public and in private. Support your own development while accepting who you are. Show affection indiscriminately, without planning. Accept accountability for her feelings while allowing you to help her get through them. If you're wasting your time with the wrong lady, you'll never find the one. Therefore, quit making excuses if you saw these trends in your relationship. Give up expecting her to change. Give up sacrificing yourself for a relationship that is slowly killing you. Make your own decision. Keep your peace. Leave. Your future self will be grateful.